That's the way Dad did it. That's the way America does it. And it's worked out pretty well so far. Welcome to Eat Sleep Nerd, a podcast where you can check out, go AFK, and relax with us as we discuss all things nerd. Comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and anything else that gets geeks more excited than Solid Snake when he sees an empty cardboard box.
Welcome to episode number 14. I'm Corey Winter, and as always, I am joined by my nerdy brother Josh Winter and our geeky friend Jason Summer. In this episode, we are battling to the death. In this first part of a three-part peak geek debate, we'll each be arguing for which iteration of 4 different DC characters is the best of the best. Batman, Superman, Joker, and Catwoman are all at stake. Is Michael Keaton or Kevin Conroy the better Caped Crusader? Stay tuned to find out. We'll also be sharing our speculation on the rumored Dr. Doom movie and the future of the James Bond film franchise. And in our spoiler-filled review segment at the end of the show, we'll be discussing the jam-packed Episode 9 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And as always, don't forget to share the show with your friends and family and neighbors and strangers, and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And...
Josh, wasn't that really professional and well done by Mr. Corey?
It was. He sounded great.
I really like that. You did really well there. I can see that you prepped. However, I didn't realize that we were battling to the death. I don't have my will set up.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll just take all your stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
Somebody can have my computer. Who wants my computer?
We're going to burn that thing to the ground.
No one wants your computer.
That has already battled to the death. It's already dead.
Right, yeah. And it lost.
So listeners, I just want to, Corey has brought out some new software that we're using for our recording, and he actually now has a soundboard, and we get to listen to our music and sound while we're recording. So it sounds pretty fun. I was smiling over here. We just tried it. It was great. And he just put some applause. I love it.
All right.
Like
So how are you guys doing this week?
I'm tired.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, it's kid week. I have my children this week. And I guess I have them every other show that we record.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This week I'm just tired.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
What about you, Jason?
I'm good. I'm good. It was a very busy week. It was intense at work, and then we had plenty of rehearsals this week for the Shakespeare play, As You Like It. And this right here, our recording session, is, I think, the first feeling of recreation I've felt all week. So this is
that's
nice.
just sad.
No, it's good. Like I'm enjoying being here with you guys, and this is really relaxing.
Yeah, I'm glad we could give this to you.
No, it's great. I'm actually very happy and very chill to be here. So love you guys.
Aw. Well, speaking of things we love, so little Ratchet and Clank update. I have been powering my way through the Future Saga, so I have beaten Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction, as well as Ratchet and Clank Quest for Booty. And now yes, that is one of the actual video games. And now I'm working my way through Ratchet and Clank A Crack in Time, and I'm loving it. So, yeah.
When are you going to get to Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal?
That's actually, I'm going to come back around to that one because it's kind of like its own. It's not really set in the same storyline, so I'm going to come back around to it.
Okay. Oh, these names.
Yeah, literally, I didn't realize it until after I bought them, but every single Ratchet and Clank subtitle is like an appropriate reference. Yeah. It's awesome.
Ooh, I did want to say, I finally got my hands on the black panels for the PS5 and the black controller. And that's probably as close to true geekiness that I got this week. I put them on my PS5, and it looks amazing.
Nice.
So I'm very happy.
So what do you have against the white one?
I never liked the white panels or the white theme that they went with the PS5. It just doesn't, it's not a color that I would use for like my own decor and stuff like that, like with my entertainment system and whatever else. But of course, me being objective, I didn't let that stop me from getting it.
That would have been a really weird thing to stop you from getting a PlayStation 5.
Right. I didn't get the PS5 because I don't like the panels. So, no. But
I mean, we joke about that, but when Xbox had the One S came out in white, it had poor sales, and as soon as they re-released it in black, it like tripled their sales.
I'm telling you, like black is an electronic, it's a tech color, and
see, that's my thing
with anything.
Yeah. Like literally everything. I mean, you know me. I have a big AV setup. Literally every other piece of equipment is black.
Right.
White.
So I really So black is slimming. Black is sleek. So yeah. Anyway, plus I wanted to get the black controller simply because I think it's easier to keep it
clean,
looking
or
clean,
at least
longer.
looking clean. Yeah.
Right. Because I'm like, why would you put white plastic on something that gets handled all the time?
Yeah,
And
I have noticed that
just,
it has gotten
It's
so.
And like, I'm sure all my other controllers are too, but I don't have to.
Hence, like it's all about appearance. It's not like we're not talking about depth or anything here. It's all about surface stuff.
So, speaking of the way our consoles look, this is just a random little thing that came out this morning. Did you guys see the Thor: Love and Thunder version of the Xbox One, or I guess Xbox Series X? Just in case.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a weird flex.
So I will share this in the show notes. But yes, there is going to be an Xbox that looks like Thor's hammer. Like, how do you even put that on the shelf?
Yeah, that just looks like a mess. Man. Yeah. No, so what we're looking at, it's Mjolnir is the metal part of the hammer part is the Xbox, and then there's the handle. Like sticking out perpendicular from the side of the box.
Yeah, the thing would take up your entire
it looks
shelf.
like Thor's hammer, but it just, I mean, I don't know
cool.
who buy it. It looks cool, but I don't know.
Yeah. It does look cool. But why would you?
But it takes up space.
Yeah, like that's definitely for collectors only. That's an intense commitment.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, just reading the announcement from Xbox, I'm not sure this is something that's even going into production. I think this is like a one-off,
like a little sweepstakes,
it's a competition.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
So good luck. Go enter.
Well, okay.
Speaking of competitions, are you guys ready to get going?
I'm ready. I have opinions.
Our first of probably many peak geek debates. Josh, kudos on the name there. This is where we're just battling to the death on which version, which iteration, which portrayal of different characters, not necessarily comic book characters, but we're starting with comic books, which portrayal we personally think is best. And so this is we all have our own. Like, we're not as a team coming together. We're all battling which one we personally think is the best. And we're starting with a couple of DC characters, Superman, Catwoman, Batman, and the Joker. And we chose these four because they have had numerous portrayals.
So many.
And I have this all listed out in our agenda for the audience that cannot see this. There's actually even more than what I have listed here. Like, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 written down for Superman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 written down for Catwoman. I'm not even going to count the Batman ones because there's tons of them. And same thing for Joker. So there are tons of people that have played some kind of version of these characters. So I think it's important for us to decide which is best. Nice. Let's start with Superman. A little overview. Superman has been portrayed in live action, animation, on both TV and movies since what, the 40s, 50s, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, technically the first movie serials were back in the 40s.
Yeah. And so some of the notable ones have been Henry Cavill, obviously in Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman and Justice League most recently. But you've also had, obviously, Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh, Tyler Hoechlin. He's been playing him on TV and so on and so forth. So there's no rules for this. We're making up these debate rules as we go. So
Christopher Reeve.
Okay. Josh, who are you picking?
Ooh. Okay. So I have conflicting feelings on Superman. So my gut says to go
Are you
with
going to
Henry.
be debating yourself?
I am actually. My gut says to go with Henry Cavill.
Mhm.
I think he just. I just think he
there we go.
redefined.
Starting.
I think he redefined the modern iteration of Superman. I think, and this is like heresy for me to say, I think Zack Snyder just didn't handle it as well. I think he had a good idea.
Oh my!
The execution was a little sloppy.
Hot take.
All right. Well, it's because Jason has said this numerous times. How do you make a modern Superman movie?
Yeah.
And
I'm tearing up
right?
here,
Like
man.
hashtag Jason was right. Yeah.
You just referenced. Wow.
But
I'm not used to this. Okay.
No. Okay. So like, I'm gonna put words in Jason's mouth here.
Wait, did we get into the debate yet? Because I
was letting Josh decide. He hasn't actually chosen which one he's debating for.
No,
yet.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, keep going then.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I'm gonna put some words into Jason's mouth here, and I'm gonna assume that Christopher Reeve was your favorite, A, because of your childhood, but B, because he was hopeful and optimistic and a Boy Scout and awesome and stuff like that, right? Is that a fair?
That is a large part of it. There are other aspects I'm going to bring into this, but yeah, that's a large part of it. Mm-hmm.
Sadly, Henry Cavill Superman was none of those things, right? The entire premise of his movies was basically Superman being emotionally abused by the human race. So and that's what it was. Like it was.
No, in a way to put it, you're right.
Yeah, and so again, this is the way Zack Snyder makes his movies: is he tries to make the most boiled down and distilled version of his characters, but he tries to prove that point by inverting your expectations.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about 300.
Yeah, so he lots of symbolism there. And but no, so his idea was, how do you make a beacon of hope? Well, first you have to put the beacon of hope through the ringer. Otherwise, his hopefulness means nothing.
Yeah.
So I think sadly that his saga ended right before we were going to get the hopeful version of Superman. So we never really got to see that, which is why, despite my gut to go with Henry Cavill, I'm actually going to say right now, my favorite is probably Tyler Hoechlin.
I kind of figured you were going to say that. So Tyler Hoechlin, for the audience that doesn't know, he has been the TV version of Superman for the most part. He has played in Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and most recently Superman and Lois. So
because
he's doing work.
He takes that same idea, right? Most of those shows kind of put him through the ringer, especially Superman and Lois. Like the whole premise is that he's an excellent Superman and he's struggling being a dad. But unlike the Snyder version and the Henry Cavill version, he is hopeful and that's how he's getting through that. So to me, I don't know. Corey, what about you? What's your favorite Superman?
Well, by default, since I have not had too much exposure to the Superman character, really, I'm going to have to go with Henry Cavill. Mostly, not really for the story that we got from him, just for how he portrayed Superman. Like he was a perfect, chiseled human being. He has a perfect human specimen, which is what Superman is. And
he has the physicality. But also, I think if he were to be given the hopeful storyline, he would pull it off just fine. Yeah.
And for what we did get from him, like Man of Steel, I thought was a great Superman story, and he pulled it off just fine. I think my first exposure to Superman was probably Brandon Routh in the Superman Returns movie, unfortunately.
I mean, that checks out. I think that's probably right. Yeah.
So I think I have to go with Henry Cavill. I think he's the perfect casting for it. He just has not been given the perfect movie for it.
Yeah.
Jason, you chose Christopher Reeve. Why?
Yes. The OG Superman to a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. So Josh made some very valid points earlier.
Was he right?
Was that a way of saying Josh was right?
He was accurate on
okay.
No, he's 100% right on the points that he made. I'm certain that my preference for Christopher Reeve as Superman is because that's what I grew up on. And his portrayal by Christopher Reeve and by the writers and the director was very hopeful. Superman. It was pretty, and he was fairly comic accurate too at the time as well.
Oh yeah,
like there wasn't a lot of deviation from different iterations of characters at that time. So what he was in the movie, it pretty much was a reflection of what he was in the comics at the time.
Okay.
So there's that. On top of that, you also have the John Williams score to back up his iteration.
I forgot that was John Williams.
How can you forget that was
John Williams? Yes,
because he does so much. You're gonna forget something at some point.
That's one of the OG John Williams scores,
right? It's now listening to other John Williams music, I'm going to have to admit it's not one of his strongest pieces. It's one of his most recognizable and easiest to probably recreate while you're humming. But but John Williams has done a lot better work, even recently. Anyway, that's John Williams. Anyway, moving on. But when I've seen other actors portray Superman and Clark Kent since then, it just hasn't honed those same feelings that I got when watching Christopher Reeve. And it's not because I didn't want to, because I wanted to see Superman brought back to cinema. I wanted it.
Yeah.
And especially after Christopher Reeve was paralyzed in the 90s, it couldn't be him again. We know that.
Yeah.
So I was, so when they brought out Superman Returns in 2006, which was supposed to be a continuation of Superman 2,
correct,
with Brendan Routh, I was ready. And they even brought back John Williams music, and it was like, okay. And I was disappointed. It was such a sad, somber, depressing movie.
Yeah.
And none of the hopefulness. It was grim. It was dark. And I mean, Brandon did fine. I think he was another victim of just not having a good story or good direction. Like even the color palette was muted for the movie. Like it wasn't hopeful. So, but I do recall in one scene where the little kid's looking up at Brandon in the movie, and it looked like a profile of Christopher Reeve. And I'm like, this was a good pick.
I remember because the internet was young in that days, but I mean, that's all anyone was talking about was basically how he was chosen because he was a dead ringer for Christopher
pretty
Reeve.
Darn close.
That's not saying anything about his acting ability. I mean, he is a good actor. He's had
fine.
Pretty consistent work since then, but he was 100% chosen because he looks like Christopher Reeve.
Right. And I thought that he looked the part, he looked fine. I mean, he met all the check boxes for Superman, but the movie just, and the writing and the directing just didn't carry it. Henry Cavill, man, really close. Like I really, really wanted that to work. But like you were saying, it wasn't hopeful. It was, again, muted palette. I'm sorry, but to me, Superman is hopeful across the board. And, with the muted blue and the muted red and yellow on his suit, it was like, I don't know. It didn't do it for me. I liked it, but it wasn't my Superman yet.
So did you ever watch Smallville? I'm curious if anyone has a take on Tom Welling.
I didn't watch Smallville
because he played
because it was a teen drama. It was like to me it was like Varsity Blues superhero style.
I mean that's 100% what it was. They actually tried to do an Arrowverse before an Arrowverse was even a thing. Like by the end of that show, what was it? 10 years, 12 years, something like that.
I was going to say he probably has played Superman the longest. He played it for 10 years.
Yeah. If you count up like minutes as Superman, it was Tom Welling. His biggest issue was he never actually got to be Superman.
Okay. That was an intentional part of the writing, I believe.
Correct. And that's half the reason I quit watching it around season 7. Was at a certain point, it goes from being anticipatory to just frustrating and you stop. So, I mean, to me, that could be something interesting to revisit one day, because I think, especially now that he's, a grown man, he could probably be a really good Superman, but we just never really got to.
So let's go back to Tyler. What's his name? Tyler
Hoechlin? I have no idea if I'm saying it right. Could be Hoechlin. Could be Hoechlin. I don't. Tyler, hit us up. Let us know.
Hey, Ty. Right.
Hey, Ty. Okay, so I have not really seen. So I've been watching the Arrowverse. I've not actually gotten to where he shows up yet. So what's so great about him?
I don't know.
So I know because Jason still hasn't watched that show, even though I've been telling him to for like 6 months. No, he is, and this is why I'm frustrated, because Jason would love him, and I know he would. He's the opposite of Henry Cavill, and I mean that in the nicest, best way I possibly can, because Henry Cavill always felt like the outside alien looking at, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as he found out he was an alien, it's almost felt like he gave up his humanity a little bit and started looking at himself as an other a little bit. And to me, that was the biggest failing of his version of Superman, because Superman leaned into his humanity and decided to be the best of humanity as a beacon of what to go toward, which is extra sad because clearly Zack Snyder understood this, because Russell Crowe, Jor-El, literally said that exact line, be a beacon to follow. So clearly he understood the assignment. He just didn't do it very well. Tyler Hoechlin nails the humanity part of it. Like, he's probably the best Clark Kent I've ever seen. And the way that they present their story is, it's more of a Clark Kent story than it is a Superman story. But because he nails Clark Kent so well, when he gets to be Superman, it's inherently amazing. And that
Have you ever seen Lois and Clark? Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, it has strong vibes.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Like, it seems very similar to that to you.
So that was Dean Cain, right?
Right.
Oh, Dean Cain.
Okay, so that was back in the 90s, 93 to 97.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that is so 90s now. Like,
oh yeah, it is. Don't get me wrong.
That is a
definitely
freaking time capsule.
Yeah, it is definitely aged. That being said, every time I see who's the best Superman online, a lot of people say Dean Cain. Like, there's a lot of people who still think of him as like their Superman, and it was from his time on that show.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and concede my Henry Cavill. Currently, I'm siding with Josh, as Tyler Hoechlin is probably the best. I've conceded that Henry Cavill is not the best. I think he could be, but he's currently not.
But he's your best.
It is worth noting, WB, that we very much want Henry Cavill back.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So this is not a reflection on his performance.
And just to support Henry Cavill as a Superman, it is probably the one standout part of the Whedon Justice League that I did enjoy was when Superman shows up at the end in his blue suit with the John Williams score behind him, and just absolutely, leaning into the Superman, the classic Superman. That was my favorite part of the movie right there. And Henry Cavill was Superman right then.
See, I just feel like Henry Cavill could have been the hopeful Superman.
Yeah.
But Zack Snyder went so hard into the origin story of him that he was too busy dealing with his own personal stuff before he actually got to be the Superman that we were wanting from him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the last 2 seconds of the Snyder cut, I feel like we're there. Like, I feel like we cut off the story right before we got to the part where he could start being the beacon of hope.
WB.
Yeah. Hashtag restore to the Snyderverse.
But still, I concede my favorite. So Josh is currently winning the debate, in my opinion.
All right,
Jason,
why? Okay, so how does he win it over Christopher Reeve?
I
want to know.
Because Corey said so.
Because Josh is just really good at convincing me of things. He's right. Josh is right.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Jason's not going to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
No. Jason's just going to reassess his approach.
He's going to get a little bit more, savage with it.
I'm going to change my angle of attack.
All right, so that's Superman. Are you, any more final thoughts on Superman?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Let's move into Catwoman. So Catwoman.
Yeah, let's do that.
Jason is salty. So Catwoman does not have.
I'm a freaking ocean over here, man.
Oh, I get it, because their ocean is salty.
So Catwoman has not had as many portrayals in other media, but there have been a few. So Lee Merriweather, the original OG back in 1966, Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, Halle Berry, Anne Hathaway, Zoe Kravitz has actually played Catwoman multiple times. Fun fact.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Zoe Kravitz obviously played Catwoman in the Batman with Pattinson.
Yeah.
But she also voiced Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie.
Yep.
Yeah, I know, right? Fun fact. And then also a couple other ones. Laura Bailey has voiced her in Telltale's Batman series video games. And then Julie Newmar and Eartha Kitt played her in the OG Batman TV show. So who are we picking? I think I have to go with Anne Hathaway.
I hated Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I thought she was terrible. And I like Anne Hathaway, like generally speaking.
So my problem with picking a Catwoman is that each one, aside from like back in the TV show days, they've only had one movie. So like we didn't really get a chance to evolve the character on any of these actresses.
Well, see, that's why I was going to say my favorite Catwoman to date is actually animated series Catwoman.
Which one is that?
Like OG, like got home from school, 4:00, Batman the Animated Series comes on. Couldn't tell you who does her voice to save my life. But as far as a fully fleshed out, complex character, Catwoman on Batman the Animated Series, opposite Kevin Conroy.
I believe it was Adrienne Barbeau.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
During the 1990s, she became known for providing the voice of Catwoman on Batman the Animated Series 1992 to 95. Okay. I have to say Zoe Kravitz is probably right up there with Anne Hathaway. Let's just... Different angle. Halle Berry, Michelle Pfeiffer, no. Just no. I didn't like their takes at all.
Just they're out.
So It's really close between Anne Hathaway and Zoe Kravitz. I liked Anne Hathaway because she had the whole suave...
There was an elegance there.
There was an elegance. And Zoe Kravitz, I liked her because, honestly, for the same reason. I feel like they both had the elegance and suaveness that Catwoman, just like in Black Cat with Spider-Man, like you don't know if you can trust them or not, but like they're
alluring.
Yeah. So I think Anne Hathaway and both Anne Hathaway and Zoe Kravitz have both had that aspect to their takes. But why do you like the animated series one?
I mean, I think it's going back to what you had said. The other ones just have not had that much screen time. Like I think over time, we all know Batman's getting sequels, and I think Zoe Kravitz was so popular in it, she'll undoubtedly be in the sequels.
Oh, for
which
sure.
is neat because aside from the TV shows, I think she'll be the first one who gets to play Catwoman more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a big part of it is just let's be real. The Batman the Animated Series is unlike anything else, just as far as production value, storytelling, even how it was made, why it was made. Like there's no other show, especially cartoon, that even comes close to that level of quality and agelessness. And I mean that both in how it has aged and also who watches it. Like that show is equally watchable as an adult as it was when you were a kid. So there's a universality to it. And everyone that was involved with it, if you told me that they were your favorite version of that character, I'm not even sure I would debate you on it. Like I find that a completely logical and valid opinion.
So, I mean, obviously I remember the animated series. I don't ever remember seeing Catwoman. Like I remember the Joker.
She's in literally the first episode.
She probably is.
Like I'm pretty sure she was in the first episode.
Like she didn't stand out for me.
A gray cat suit with black boots and
that's like the most iconic Catwoman look in my opinion too.
There you go. I knew you'd remember.
Yeah, and so again, I think she has the benefit of she's had more exposure than all of the other Catwomen. You know what I mean? Like she's had more screen time, even though it's a cartoon. Long form has its benefits, right? You can do long form storytelling.
Yeah.
And so there's an actual evolution of her character from straight up bad person to kind of being an ally to being a love interest to being maybe one day we'll get that in live action. We've kind of got a truncated version of it in the Batman.
What about you, Jason? Who are you picking for Catwoman?
So Catwoman's not been, I guess, a strong character or a character that I've really worried too much about. I think the Catwoman issue for me is just exactly what you guys mentioned. There's been so many different versions that didn't have time to establish themselves as the actress for Catwoman. I think each of them that I've seen has brought their unique take and enjoyability to it. And one of the things I do want to point out real quick, which is important, Eartha Kitt, she was a black actress playing in this very popular Batman series, which was a big deal back in the day. And she was and I remember watching her, on these, not that I was alive in 66 before you even say that. But when it would come on like Nickelodeon, or Nick at Night or whatever it was on reruns. She was good. And she really got into the cat thing. She purred a lot. I remember that. So she definitely had fun with it.
So it sounds like you're picking Eartha Kitt as your favorite.
Well, hang on. And then the next iteration that I have a very strong memory of is Michelle Pfeiffer, in Batman Returns,
which he was,
and I liked her I liked her broken and revengeful take on the character, and she's clearly a broken person. Yeah, and she's clearly a broken person in this in her version, but it was also captivating to watch her. But I also liked Anne Hathaway's.
I was going to say, I don't think there's been a bad actress that has played Catwoman. Like, it's all really been good casting.
Yeah, they've all been really good. Like I liked Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman. I don't think this is Halle Berry's fault, but I hated Halle Berry's Catwoman. Yeah, I did see the movie.
Halle Berry's Catwoman really had nothing to do with any.
It had nothing to do with the DC universe,
like it was
at all.
Yeah,
it was,
and she agrees with you. She accepted her premise. She accepted her Razzie in person,
and with good humor too.
Yeah,
So, but I would have to say, that's my least favorite, and simply just nostalgia, simply because I think all the other actresses have done such a great job, but didn't have a chance to continue. I'll have to give it to nostalgia, and that's going to be Michelle Pfeiffer.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think she's certainly still to this day the most iconic Catwoman. Yeah. If for nothing else other than her costume. But
yeah. I think the reason I lean towards Anne Hathaway over Zoe Kravitz is because I feel like Anne Hathaway got to play the character a little bit more in The Dark Knight Rises. I feel like Zoe Kravitz really wasn't in the Batman all that long.
Well, even the portion that she was in, she spent more of it as Selena Kyle than she did as...
Yeah. So I feel like Anne Hathaway just got the chance to do more with the character than Zoe Kravitz did in the span of one movie. I think that's why I'm leaning towards Anne Hathaway.
I just feel like Anne Hathaway's was a little ham-fisted. Like it was a little over the top and not always in a good way. And so I don't know. Watch it again one day. You may feel like it has aged a little less well than you think.
I will say I did really enjoy her transition from the waitress in the Wayne Manor to Catwoman in like a cock of the head.
Yeah.
I was like, that was pretty impressive. I'll give her that. See,
to me, it came across as hammy. Like I didn't.
Well, Catwoman is a pretty hammy character.
No. The cartoon never came across as hammy.
Okay.
I'm sticking with the cartoon.
Okay. Well, I'm sticking with Anne Hathaway.
That's fine.
With room for Zoe Kravitz to take the mantle in her next appearance.
Yep. Jason, final answer. Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah, that's my answer. But apparently I won't want to have a chance to see how that ages because I think she's pretty much done with Catwoman.
Yeah, I'm not sure she'll win. Well, we say that. Keaton's coming back.
Transition.
That's true.
So I say the two best ones for last because I feel like these are going to be the heated ones. So Batman is coming up next, and I feel like there's going to be definitely some voice actor live action clashing here. Yeah. So of the live action ones, we've had Robert Pattinson, Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Val Kilmer, Adam West. And then in the voice acting realm, we have had Kevin Conroy, Jensen Ackles, Troy Baker, Jason O'Mara, Reno Romano, Bruce Greenwood, Ben McKenzie, Peter Weller, Will Arnett, yes, that one counts, Roger Smith, David Guintuli, sorry, and then Winston Duke. So
Bruce Greenwood was one of the actors?
He
yes,
was.
Bruce Greenwood.
He did that.
He's done a bunch of direct-to-video movies, so Batman Under the Red Hood, Gotham by Gaslight, Death in the Family. Then he also, I guess, has had like an ongoing series I did not know existed, Young Justice.
Okay.
So he's been playing Batman actually since 2010.
So Bruce Greenwood, he's the one that played Pike in the 2009 Spider-Man.
Correct.
Spider-Man.
2009 Star Trek, right?
Correct. Kelvinverse.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Kelvin versus Pike. Yeah.
Kelvin, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start with my
Kelvin.
favorites.
Yeah. No, Kelvinverse.
Stop it.
I kind of want to choose one live action and one voice actor, but I'm not going to do that. So there's just going to be one that takes the cake. I almost want to say Will Arnett, but no. I'm going to go with Kevin Conroy, the iconic voice of the Batman.
He is. When I read Batman comic books, I hear Kevin Conroy in my head.
Like, I wish he would overdub all of the Batman movies we have gotten in his voice.
just like as a side gig.
Yeah.
Just every
That's
Batman
hilarious.
cartoon that's come out, he has to redo it.
Yeah.
So you actually read comic books in another person's voice?
Yes.
Do you
like
not do that?
when I read Superman or Batman or whatever? Batman
He sounds like you.
or Superman has my voice.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh.
I also see movies in my head when I read and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I don't.
So
I
the
don't-
Joker has Josh's voice.
Oh,
The bad guy.
that's fine. I take that as a compliment.
No.
In the next segment, you can say, I'm your favorite Joker.
Oh, wow.
So it sounds like, Josh, you're choosing Kevin Conroy as well.
Oh, see, I don't know.
Oh my god!
So don't get me wrong. He is the definitive. He really is the definitive Batman. I think that's probably going to be my final answer. Is Kevin Conroy. That said, I can't not mention Batfleck. I can't do it. I'm compelled. I have to mention Batfleck.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
I think without doubt, as far as a physical live action performance goes, Affleck nailed it. Now, again, he's playing a very specific version of Batman.
The Frank Miller Batman.
He's very much the Frank Miller Batman, right? But I also, first off, I love the Frank Miller Batman. I'm that guy.
Well, that you saying that brings up or references the point I was going to make about Batman, is that different from other characters, Batman has different iterations in the comics.
Wildly different.
Wildly different. Like, depending on the writer and the storyline, you've got the detective, then you've got the Dark Knight, then you've got, just the off the rails Batman. It's like there's different versions of him. And based on how they're wanting to put him in the movie, really is you're going to be your actor.
Yeah.
Because Ben Affleck would not do well as Michael Keaton's Batman or even Christian Bale's Batman, but he was perfect as his Batman. Yeah. And Michael Keaton or Christian Bale could not be Frank Miller's Batman.
No, they
were fine as theirs.
Yeah.
So this is I think the Batman conversation is different than the other ones.
Yes.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you can pick a best one, because
what's your favorite?
Guess.
Michael Keaton. 100%.
Right. Okay. Right.
I knew that before we even started. Yeah.
Right. I know you guys knew that. Yeah. Michael Keaton. Now for me, Michael Keaton, there's a couple reasons. And I know that I don't know if the influence that the actor's portrayal has on the industry should be part of why you think they're the best, because it's not really their portrayal. But when Michael Keaton became Batman in 1989, it was really one of the very first real superhero movies that were taken seriously.
Yeah.
As a serious business undertaking. And it kind of was the first step into what we have now, along with
the modern blockbusting,
the modern superhero era. Right.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire kind of added some life to that. But I think the Michael Keaton Batman was one of the movies that put it on the on the playing table, on the table, that like, hey, this is maybe something that we could really start doing, because you had like big actors playing big roles, and it was great. Anyway, so I also recognize the importance of that Batman, but I mean, it also, again, you had an amazing score by Danny Elfman, Tim Burton's directing and vision on what Gotham looked like, and
still
just
influences modern
it's
interpretations.
still right. And it was so iconic. They're bringing him back.
Yeah.
They're bringing back Michael Keaton. I think that's gonna be my biggest point for why he's the best. He is so influential. Michael Keaton's Batman, they are bringing him back in 2023. He's already done the work, but it's going to be 2023 that they're going to have the movie out. That version, or some version thereof, of the 1989 Batman will be back. So I'm going to say that's my reason right there.
Well,
Michael
I'm
Keaton,
going to take your point to argue my point, and that Kevin Conroy is the same thing. He has played Batman and since 1992.
92. Okay.
Has been playing him consistently across multiple mediums. So animated TV shows, video games, direct-to-TV or direct-to-video movies, even live action. He is iconic as the voice in the animated series, the iconic movie Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm. He was even the Batman that appeared in Scooby-Doo. He is the voice in Injustice, as well as the Batman Arkham series. And he was even old Bruce Wayne in the Batman Beyond TV series, which has kind of become iconic in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Conroy is Batman.
He's right. Hashtag Corey was right.
He has played Batman, I think, in 25 different properties, if I'm not mistaken.
He is Batman's voice. He's the voice of Batman. He is yeah. I don't know if just simply a voice makes
his voice is enough. His voice is enough.
I don't know. I mean, I agree that he has had an amazing career as Batman's voice. I mean, if Batman had a voice, it would be Kevin Conroy's voice, and he does. It is his voice. They did have him in, Crisis Infinite Earth, as you mentioned, as the broken bat from
Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come, which is my favorite graphic novel.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I wish they would make that into a movie. Like, it's right there. They just need to do it.
We couldn't handle it.
Oh God, it'd be crazy.
We couldn't handle it.
It would be, pardon my pun, batch. Oh, we can't say that. Never mind. But I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think if we're going to talk about the best actor, to portray a character, are they in the suit? Are they portraying? Are they Batman? Are they?
Okay, I'm going to say it. I don't feel like Michael Keaton's Batman did that much Batmaning.
Oh, hot take.
Yeah, you really you think screen time really is what we're measuring here?
Yes.
Or we just? I think we're talking about how they represent the character. We're not talking about screen time.
I'm not saying that it's just screen time. I'm just saying how much Batman did Batman.
If one say that like 3 times fast.
Because like I'm just thinking back, and it's like he Batmaned at the beginning of Batman, and then he Batmaned at the end of Batman. There wasn't much Batmaning in the middle.
He did Batman.
He didn't Batman too much in the middle. He blew up that one factory.
No, he did the Batman
and that
with
was
Vicky Vale. He went to go get Vicky Vale from the museum.
Okay. Yeah. Right. When
where
Nicholson
does he get those wonderful toys?
Yep. Okay. So it was like a 3-second scene, and then
no, that was a whole 10 minutes easily.
Okay, so let's be real. First off, the original Batman movie was a Joker movie, and it had Batman as a supporting character. which is traditionally a problem with Batman movies. Is
well,
that
okay,
the
but you're
villains
also
get more time than Batman.
but your heroes are also only as good as their villains, and Jack Nicholson's was excellent. So you actually had an excellent Batman.
Because I'm sure that tracks.
Hashtag Josh is wrong.
Oh, I never thought he would say that.
No,
I went there. On the that's right. I hashtagged that.
All right. Well, for the sake of time, we're going to move on. I think we're just going to say agree, disagree. So Michael Keaton, best live action for Jason. Maybe Batfleck, best live action for Josh. And I agree with that.
Oh yeah.
And then Kevin Conroy, best voice. All right.
With an honorable mention to Will Arnett.
Yes.
Yes. He's just hilarious. That's what that is. That's just great.
It's just
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
All right. For our last character that we're debating for our part 1 of a peak geek debate, the
Jubilee.
Joker.
Peak Geek Jubilee.
The Joker. So this one has had several live action adaptations as well as voice actings. Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, Joaquin Phoenix, and most recently Barry Keoghan have all done the live action. And then on the voice side, we've had Mark Hamill, John DiMaggio, Troy Baker, Larry Storch, Frank Welker, Kevin Michael Richardson, Jeff Bennett, Brent Spiner, Alan Tudyk, Zach Galifianakis, Jason Spizak, and Kevin Pollak. So I believe that's an all-inclusive list. Like that should be everybody.
Now this list here has more voice actors that I recognize than the other lists. Like
that is very true.
Also, when the heck did Brett Spiner do Joker?
Right, I was wondering the same thing. What? Tell us about this, Corey.
He has played the Joker in the Young Justice show.
Oh, so this is like a fairly recent.
Now, is Young Justice a series? I'm sorry.
I think it's a cartoon.
An animated or live action?
It is an animated series on Cartoon Network that has been running since 2010.
Good Lord. Okay.
So also worth noting is that Troy Baker, a famous video game voice actor, has played both the Joker and the Batman in multiple TV shows and video games. So high five, Troy Baker.
Interesting.
You're doing work. I love Troy Baker. So I will pick both a live action and voice actor for this one just because they're very different things. Mark Hamill, you had to choose him for the voice. And I know it's kind of like cliche at this point, but I have to go with Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Like it was at the time it was a very different take on what the Joker was, but it was a very realistic take, which is why I liked it.
He reminded us that the Joker is menacing.
Yeah, like he is
I think a lot of people
and unhinged.
Yeah, and not okay.
Right. But also very methodical.
So I'm going to start by saying I actually was not that crazy about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Hot take. Yep. But I mean, my answer is Mark Hamill. It just is. Like he's
like all encompassing.
That is like if I had to pick one person who just nailed the Joker, it's Mark Hamill.
Yeah. It wasn't Bite My Metal Shiny
John DiMaggio.
Yeah,
I did not realize he has voiced the Joker,
and
the same guy that voiced
Bender. Yeah,
Bender.
And don't get me wrong, like I think he's a treat. His Joker just never stuck out to me. I think the fact that Troy Baker's Joker is literally his impression of Mark Hamill.
Yeah, that kind of disqualifies him. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't disqualify him. I think it supports the assertion that Mark Hamill is probably one of the most iconic takes on the Joker. I'm going to say, in live action, though, and I know this puts me in a very small minority, I really liked the Jared Leto Joker.
I did too.
I really, really did. And there's a lot of people who make fun of me really hard for that. But to me, that's a crazy Joker. Like, that is literally someone who is not mentally stable.
Yes, I liked his Joker. I just did not like the punk aspect of it. Like the tattoos and everything, that just was a little weird. But I liked
how he showed up in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah. So I feel like he is much maligned for that role, and I don't think he deserves it.
He doesn't.
There was a lot that he did really cool. And I don't even agree with you on the punk gangster look. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. Like, that was different. So I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to have seen more of him, but I don't think we ever will. So, I mean, by default, I think my answer is Mark Hamill.
What about you, Jason?
Well, real quick, Corey, you have Mark Hamill, and then you've listed out 4 of his.
Yeah, so Mark Hamill.
So you then you put 20 others. I'm just going to say I'm kind of disappointed that you didn't take the time and effort to list out those 20 others. I now wonder whether or not you should be doing this kind of stuff anymore.
So yes, for what Jason's saying. So on our little agenda here, I have every single actor and they're mostly all of their roles where they played this character. Right. But for Mark Hamill, I listed his 4 iconic ones. So the animated series, Mask of the Phantasm, Batman Beyond, as well as the Batman Arkham Asylum game. And then I just went and wrote 20 others because he has played the Joker so many times. I just did not want to write them all down. So yes, as far as voice acting goes, Mark Hamill has played the Joker the most.
So when it comes to me and bad guys, I have an inherent problem with picking like a favorite bad guy. Because I don't know why, but because
you're just a good person.
Nah, I don't know. It's it's just bad guys are secondary to me. I mean, like a strong bad guy character is always going to make a movie better. But I'm always rooting for the good guys. Like I'm always Batman. I'm always Superman. I'm always Captain America. I'm always. Anyway, like I've never been like a Wolverine fan. Like even the people who walk the line. I'm not a Punisher fan. Daredevil is kind of pushing it for me. I mean, like I really like, just the very, when it comes to my media consumption, like the characters like Superman and Captain America.
Are you abstaining?
No. I'm not abstaining. I'm saying that this is a difficult choice for me because I don't care.
So when someone says the Joker, who comes to mind? Like instantly.
Jack Nicholson.
All right.
But because he was just a larger than life performance. That's and like he was bombastic in his role.
Yeah.
He was playing
Mark Hamill. Like I like Mark Hamill as the Joker because he was Luke Skywalker. Really, I mean that's the leap that I make. So that's kind of why I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch Mark Hamill's Joker because he was Luke. So that's kind of how I approach this. Heath Ledger's I think was probably the best acted and most well written.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I probably just from a technical standpoint, it's going to be Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Now I do want to point out that some of these voice actor names on here are really cool, and I didn't know. So two of them that you listed out, I want to point out real quick. Kevin Pollak is the voice of the Joker in Injustice.
Yes.
And if you don't know who Kevin Pollak is, he is if you go back to A Few Good Men, he is the third lawyer that's working with Tom Cruise and Demi Moore. That's Kevin Pollak. And I had no clue he did any kind of cartoon voice acting. So that was cool. And then Frank Welker, who is a longtime voice actor. He voiced Megatron in the initial God, I can't talk today. In Transformers 1984. And since then, he's also the voice of Nibbler in Futurama. And so that's kind of cool. I didn't know those. I didn't know.
I like how there have been multiple Futurama voice actors that have played the Joker because there was John DiMaggio.
That is kind of cool. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good.
So
wow. Good pickup. Nice.
So I'm actually. It sounds like I'm actually siding with both of you in different ways. So Jason and I are both Heath Ledger. Then Josh and I are both Mark Hamill. So good Good debate, guys.
Yeah. This was fun. Let's not do it again. No, I'm kidding.
No, so we will be doing this again.
Fine.
But we will be changing up the characters. We're actually going across the aisle for part 2 of our peak geek debate.
Just real quick. We're quick.
What?
So those who are listening, if you have different ideas or different answers, comment on our podcast. Leave a comment. Leave a review. Tell us what you think or who won.
So that's actually a good thing. So we have social media accounts. So please go follow us. We have 2 social media accounts. We have Instagram. So Eat Sleep Nerd is where you can find us on Instagram. And then on Twitter, we are Eat Sleep Nerds, plural, because Eat Sleep Nerd was taken. So yeah, I know. It's unfortunate. We are not on Facebook or anything like that because I hate Facebook. So please follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Please, you can use those posts to comment and leave your thoughts. All right. So for part 2 of our peak geek debate, on our next episode, we will be talking Marvel. Is that what we decided?
I thought it was.
I don't know.
It was Disney.
Marvel?
That's right. Disney. We'll be talking about Spider-Man, Jedi, Sith, and do we have a fourth one yet? We will to be determined.
We will have a fourth one.
All right, getting into our Temp Check the News speculations section. We have 2 stories we want to talk about, and really want to talk about them because of the speculation that comes with them. So the first one is James Bond. So Barbara Broccoli, is that really how you say her last name, Broccoli?
Yeah, it really is Broccoli. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. The producer of the James Bond series has come out and said that no one is in the running for the next James Bond, and that they are going to be completely reinventing the character for the upcoming movies. She also goes on to say that they probably won't even start filming for the next 2 years.
Wow.
So I really want to talk about this story real quick because I want some speculation for what you guys think this really means for the future of the James Bond character. Specifically, how do you follow up Daniel Craig as James Bond?
Well, I think by virtue of the existence of Daniel Craig's James Bond, it demonstrates that a reboot is possible because he was different than most of the James Bonds.
People like to act like they weren't one of them, but
so it was a completely different take.
Yeah,
so it can be done. I don't know. Like, I'm not a creative person when it comes to things like this, so I don't know how you would do that. I liked the original, or I liked the realistic take, as realistic as you can be with James Bond, and kind of a grounded take that they did, and I think that that's more relevant to.
That's what I'm getting at is that
these days,
when they rebooted it with Daniel Craig, they went with the whole grounded, gritty take on it. But I feel like just doing that again, what's the point?
Right.
Well, I think it's worth pointing out, though, that as his movies progressed, they became less grounded.
True.
So, for example, the last, 2 movies at least, ever since Skyfall, so halfway through the series, they started bringing back the gadgets. His car got pimped out again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I think they realized that ultra grounded take, while interesting, was not, it didn't do anything to set James Bond apart. They had accidentally gotten rid of a lot of the things that made James Bond.
And they turned him into
a gadgetless. Yeah, a gadgetless James Bond is just a British Jason Bourne. Like, that's all it is.
I kind of felt like that was intentional from the get-go, though. Like, they wanted to
steadily
increase that stuff over time.
Gotcha.
No, it's just, I feel like we're asking the wrong question. Any actor who's a good actor is going to be able to give us a good performance. I think the real question is, what do we think they mean when they say they're going to reinvent the character?
So that's what I was getting back at. So what is that? What do we think that means?
So I guess the question is right now, what is an information specialist, information analyst, counterintelligence hero look like right now? I think that's going to be the first question. And then you have to build off that. Like, well, what is different than it was?
So he's going to be a computer nerd.
That's kind of what I was thinking, actually. Like, there would have to be some
but like
techno
ripped.
Right. It's like you can just imagine this gigantic Henry Cavill character just kind of squinched together, typing over his mini iPad, trying to work.
They have to keep bringing him new keyboards. They just shatter underneath.
Yeah. Well, but that's the other thing is and one of the things that they've done well with James Bond is that they've kept him as kind of a slender looking individual, because if you watch real counterintelligence agents, or if you look at real protection agents, they're very athletic. They're very slender.
Yeah.
And and because of that, they blend in really well too. But they're sinewy is a good way to put it. Their tendons are they've got this elastic spring thing going. Because,
I get what you're saying.
They move so quickly. They move so quickly.
Like in Casino Royale, even he was big, and then they immediately cut him down. Like to your point, he went from being huge to being cut. There's a difference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like he's still very toned, but leaner. So there's that. So we're going to need a lean tech person.
Corey, you're up.
Right.
Corey is the next James Bond. No. So I think, and I'm not inherently against this for obvious reasons. Obviously, James Bond is a dated character, right? And I'm not just talking about his job.
Right. But his personality.
Correct. And the last two James Bonds have been, and I mean the actors, if we consider each actor as like its own little series, the last two James Bond that has been actually running commentary throughout the series is, especially in the Brosnan era, the first 2 or 3 movies he did, like he spent a considerable amount of time in HR. Like that's like that was seriously, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them literally opens with him driving to the mountainside with an HR lady. Now he gets out of it by sleeping with her, but
true.
But it was the 90s. It was a different time. And so I do think, to me, I don't, worried is not the correct word. I don't want to say that I'm worried they're going to not make him a chauvinist, because that doesn't sound good. I think it is more interesting to continue kind of the path that they're on, where how does that kind of person have to operate in a world like today? Because there are still people like that. And so,
okay. Well, I was just going to say, like, even Daniel Craig's James Bond, though, like, yes, in Casino Royale, he was a womanizer, but even really not. No, like he fell in love with what's her face. He was still in love with her. Yes, Vesper. He was still in love with her in Quantum of Solace. But by the time you get to Spectre, he fell in love with what would be.
He was what
and would then become his wife. So like he throughout his 5 movies, he wasn't really a womanizer.
Yeah, and he actually ended up a family man by the end of it all. So
I feel like that aspect of the character is kind of already gone now.
Well, although it was a parody and really played up for humor, I think Austin Powers' character actually kind of touched on this with the free love type thing.
No, I mean that's a valid point. Like,
it was a complete joke in it, but I think that's another way to view at how James Bond's character may need to progress if we're going to talk about his sexuality as a human being, in because James Bond has always been kind of reflective of the culture at the time too. So right now our culture is kind of redefining itself in terms of sexuality and gender identity and fluidity, and however you feel about it, that is our reality right now. We're kind of in a flux state, and I think for James Bond to stay relevant right now, that has to be part of his makeup. Like, what is that? How does that influence how he views relationships? And maybe not chauvinistic, but maybe just really open to all sorts of different relationships, or not being, being openly not tied down, without being chauvinistic. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think that's something that you may need to add to the character too.
Yeah. And I mean, and I just think that when they say they're reinventing the character, I think that's more what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
His job is his job. Like it's to me, I think they're evaluating, does this character still work in a modern setting?
Mm-hmm.
Does he need to change, and what do we need to change?
Yeah.
And I think the core of what James Bond is, as long as he is a suave spy for MI6,
yeah, it'll always work.
I think that's going to be James Bond. That's that, and he has to be quick-witted, and this is the one part I didn't like about Daniel Craig's. He was less tongue-in-cheek and less quippy. I think James Bond is kind of quippy.
He was very stoic in most
scenes. Daniel Craig's was very stoic, which is, I mean, I love Daniel Craig's version, but I think James Bond is he's less stoic.
Yeah.
So maybe bringing some of that fun back would be nice.
A little bit more of the tongue in cheek. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe James Bond can be what brings the fun back to this dark and gritty cinema that we've gotten, that he actually helped make.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's his fault and he can fix it.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm wondering if we're starting to see that trend right now too. As we're like, I think Thor Ragnarok is a good indicator that we're wanting to see something different because of how different that was from the other two Thor movies and how well received it was.
Yeah.
That was just a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so when you start seeing stuff like that coming back out and people enjoying it and wanting to go to the theater for it, I think that's starting to say that maybe the pendulum is swinging away from that gritty stuff. Maybe it's starting to. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So we'll see. It sounds like it's going to be a while before we get any updates on it, but just wanted to get your takes on it. So moving into our second and last story speculation for this episode, Dr. Doom. So Howard Stern, of all people, had a hot mic recently on his show, possibly on purpose. Well, it's up for debate if it was a prank or whatever or not. But basically he said he was going to be redoing filming for an upcoming Dr. Doom something this summer for Marvel, the MCU. So I'm not going to get into how he's involved. Just want to get your takes. So Dr. Doom, we have not really gotten a Dr. Doom in the MCU yet. We have gotten him in the past, like in the Fantastic Four movies, but that's outside the MCU. So where do we think Dr. Doom is going to show up next?
Fantastic Four.
See, I don't think so. I feel like because we've gotten Dr. Doom in every single Fantastic Four movie so far, they have to do something different with him.
I'm going to say something that's going to be controversial.
Okay.
So in regards to Fantastic Four and Dr. Doom, I don't care.
Care about what?
I don't care about that at all.
How do you?
I've never found those characters interesting in any way, shape, or form.
That is,
I could care less.
That is interesting because Dr. Doom
could care less.
Typically regarded as like one of the best Marvel villains.
Yeah. I don't care.
Wow.
I'll go see it because I know it's going to be important to continuity and knowing what's going on in the Marvel universe. But unless they do something special, I don't care. So I'm going to let you guys talk this one out. I really don't care about that.
Well, this was going to be a quick story. I just wanted to get your theories on where he shows up first.
I don't care.
So I mean, I'm still going to go with Fantastic Four. I understand your point and that it is kind of been hashed literally a few times.
Like if every time they rebooted Spider-Man, if Green Goblin was always the first villain that he faced, it would get really annoying and really boring. So I feel like if they keep using Dr. Doom as the first villain in Fantastic Four, what's the point of watching it? So I feel like he has to show up somewhere else first.
Well, the thing is, we also know most of the upcoming projects. I just don't know where else he would fit in.
Yeah.
Maybe as a cameo or side character.
Well, a lot of people were wondering if it was for What If, because What If is getting a second season.
Yeah.
So maybe we're getting all worked up and it's not even a live action role. Maybe it's a voiceover.
It might not be. But I mean,
what was the hot mic? I didn't, again, like I really don't care. And I don't like Howard Stern either. So I really don't care.
What was
the hot mic?
During one of his commercial breaks, apparently one of his mics was still on. He was talking to one of his guests. And he basically said, this summer he's going to be filming for Dr. Doom. And he called Robert Downey Jr. to get some acting tips because he's stressed about it. That was it.
Yeah, he was literally complaining about it. Like he was talking about how much it sucks that he's having to put his schedule on hold to go work at Marvel for a minute.
A true humble brag.
Yeah, I know, right?
So,
Right. Yeah. And then you know what? He's a shock jock. I'm 100% convinced he meant to do that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now people are talking about Howard Stern again.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
I still think Doctor Doom, I feel like that part of it's true. Like we had to get Doctor Doom at some point. He's a very iconic villain for Marvel. He has to show up sometime.
Yep.
Yeah. I had to think about this for a minute because there were so many characters that I'd never even heard about, you know, in the Marvel universe that we've been watching, you know, that I've been interested in all of them. And when this whole Doctor Doom Fantastic Four stuff comes up, I'm like, why am I never wanting to talk about it? It's just, just don't care.
That's very weird.
So anyway,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the thing. Maybe we'll see. It's just rumors right now, but at some point, maybe we'll get Doctor Doom, and Howard Stern might be involved somehow. Who knows?
Gross.
Gross.
Gross. Gross.
All right, let's get into our review segment. As a reminder, this is full spoilers. If you have not watched Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1, Episode 9, All Those Who Wonder, press pause now. Go watch it, then come back. This was a huge episode as far as just everything that happened.
Corey,
do you guys
is it
agree?
your new favorite episode?
It is. I'm giving it a 7 out of 5. Like, it was
wow. Okay.
fantastic.
And that wraps up. We'll talk to you guys on your next episode.
It was suspenseful. It really wasn't predictable. Like, there were definitely like just common things you could have predicted that happened, but like overall, it was not really predictable. People died. There was still comedy thrown into the middle of the suspense, and we have all of the characters, like the core crew, the core cast was all involved. It was awesome.
Okay, I'm just going to reiterate real quick. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
There are big spoilers in this. Seriously.
Huge.
Like
show-changing spoilers. Yeah.
Don't continue listening anyway. Okay.
So it is worth noting this is the second to last episode of this season. So like definitely things are coming to
ahead.
A big climax.
Penultimate.
Yes. So this was a huge episode for that. It was actually yet again one of my biggest complaints about the show is that it has been episodic, but this episode had a lot of the overarching stories play into it. So yeah, I loved every aspect of this episode. So let's set the stage for what this episode was. So the Enterprise came face to face with their demons and scary monsters too when their landing party is stranded on a barren planet with a ravenous enemy. So basically they got a call, priority 1 mission to go check in on another Starfleet ship. And when they got there on this
another Constitution class,
and when they got there, pretty much all the crew was dead.
And the crew's message was, "Don't come get us."
Yeah. So I got huge like Dead Space vibes, like the video game Dead Space.
I got huge
aliens.
That was actually my favorite part about the entire thing. Was there were a lot of homages
references,
to your favorite sci-fi horror movies,
Predators, and
I was gonna say the okay. So let's just start with that. It was the Gorn, and we were kind of, or at least I was waiting to see what we were going to do with the Gorn. And to be fair, at the end of the episode, we still have not seen a full adult Gorn,
little baby Gorns,
juvenile Gorns.
Yeah, but I mean, it's. I feel like for the most part they delivered. Like they were scary and they freaked you out a little bit, but yeah, just the sci-fi references were all over the place. You had alien references as far as how the Gorn were hatched. You had the Predator vision for how the Gorn see. Like, I mean, it was great, and it never felt cheeky or unearned or anything. Like, it's just, it was awesome.
I was anxious throughout the episode because I was scared what was going to happen next.
Yeah, there was legitimate. Yeah.
Like when they were in the medical bay on the ship that they were investigating, they were sitting with the alien dude, the big blue guy, and he just started heavy breathing for
stressing me out.
Like a couple minutes straight. And like, you knew it was leading to something because like he was like freaking out. And for some reason, the nurse walked away. Glad she did. But for some reason, she walked away while this guy was having what could have been anything. and then he exploded with little aliens inside of him. Like, that was terrifying.
Yeah. And there was legitimate suspense. They established really quick that people will die.
Mhm.
Now
That poor lieutenant guy who just got a promotion.
I know,
Right.
shortest promotion of all time.
Now this is the downside of watching Star Trek is kind of formulaic in a couple ways.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of them, and I knew, like, when they just reintroduced somebody really heavily that you've never heard of before.
It's like,
I knew
he's
that
not
the other
gonna make
cadet,
it.
I knew that the other cadet wasn't going to make it, and I knew that the lieutenant wasn't going to make it. Like, I'm like, oh, they're going to die some point.
Well, see, and that's actually an excellent point, though. As soon as they announced who the character list was for the show, one of the first things people were saying was that there was going to be maybe a little less suspense because a lot of them have plot armor because we know they have to make it to the original series.
Exactly. Like Uhura, Pike,
Yeah,
Chapel,
like we know
number one, I think.
Yeah, we know they're going to be okay for the majority of the series.
Kirk has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, they did a darn good job of building up some of these other primary characters that we lost one this week, and it was heart-wrenching.
I was angry.
I was a little bit too.
I liked Himmer. Like, that was...
Bruce Horrick, who plays Hemmer. Yeah.
The first blind actor on Star Trek, right?
Yeah, playing a blind character, which is great.
And like he was typically the wise character on the show. Like, he was always giving advice and stuff.
He was a smart ass.
And like, he actually went out giving advice.
I loved him. Yeah. And so that was just, it was heartbreaking.
It was.
But so beautifully shot. When he falls out through the force field and into the canyon below, like, that was
right. The self-sacrifice and just totally at peace with it. I was angry. That was, I think, probably the most emotionally invested I had been in the series thus far.
So you were angry,
and I didn't know.
So you were angry, but was
angry.
it poetically satisfying for you?
From a story standpoint, I get it. See, most of my issues are from technical standpoints. Like, why did we do this now? Why did the writers choose to do this? From the story standpoint and from a presentation standpoint, it's fine. You know, it works. So my issues are just like, why would you do this?
Why would you take him from me?
Why would you hurt me this way?
I mean, so I'm angry about that, and I'm sad that he's gone because he was definitely one of my favorite characters.
Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he fell, but like he landed on like a nice pillow, and so magically his disease or whatever.
I'm
was
optimistic.
Not...
I'm not unrealistic.
No, he did. He did.
Yeah, he did.
So, all I'm going to say,
even if he did survive, they left him there.
Okay, but he's like the greatest engineer ever. He would have built a spaceship out of rocks.
You have not met Scotty yet,
and
that's true. We haven't gotten Scotty yet.
No, we'll get
we won't until like the end of the show. But I mean, it is worth pointing out Star Trek is right up there with comic books as far as people not staying dead.
That's true.
It's even a running joke on Lower Decks. Yeah, like how is he back? I don't know. They never tell us. Like.
Right.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Himmer. You were awesome.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some other big plot points. So Spock, he is starting to feel his emotions. He's angry.
He let something out.
He punched a wall.
He did.
I like that because this is both in this episode and the episode with Captain Angel. They have both episodes. They subtly remind you that Vulcans have supernatural strength, superhuman strength, I guess.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
And so I kind of like that they keep reminding us of that, but it's always subtle and like no one really says anything about it just because they know. Mm-hmm. So.
Right. Because it's not a thing. It's like it's a known thing instead of having to remind each other for the audience. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I always liked it, but yes, when he goes in the hallway and he punches the bulkhead and it like dents in the entire wall. Like that's.
And he had a little moment with Nurse Chapel. I felt like she wanted to kiss him.
Oh, absolutely.
She didn't get to, though.
Did you notice they didn't show his face?
I did notice that.
Yeah. That I think that was deliberate. I don't know. As much as I like his fiance, as the term is these days, I'm kind of shipping Spock and Chapel.
Oh yeah,
Honestly, I love Nurse
Yeah,
Chapel. She's awesome.
Spackle.
It's either going to be Chapel or Chalk.
Or, Josh says Spackle.
Yeah, Spackle.
All right, we're gonna have to get that
I like,
hashtag.
or
trending.
Snapple.
Yeah,
Snapple. Right. One other plot thing. So Noonien Singh, where's she going?
I don't know where she's going.
Yeah. So Noonien Singh is.
Well, she
taking
doesn't either.
She is taking a leave of absence. Is she leaving us for forever?
I don't think so. I halfway expect her to be in the next episode.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't her leave of absence be like the last episode of the season? She does like the whole "I'm gone" thing in between seasons, then comes back the next episode of the next season. Like, why is she leaving now?
These are the questions.
Well, I kind of wonder if they're trying to set up different storylines for the next season. Because I think what you run into, especially these days, is if you trap essentially everybody in one place, where can you go? If you're all on the same ship and you're traveling in a submarine through space for 5 years,
they can go to strange new worlds, Jason.
Well, they can't. No, but what I'm saying is like boldly. There's nowhere else to go. You're all together.
Everyone will always be on the same plot line.
Right. So I think what they may be doing is trying to open up some storylines, which I think is smart story writing.
But also I think Star Trek is one of those shows where it works best when everyone's together as a big chemistry group. Well, we'll see. Who knows? Also worth noting that Pike was still cooking for people.
Yep, I was going to say a few more plot points. They were cooking again. He was cooking again. It was breakfast, and it was universally agreed that it was delicious.
And I loved how they worked in, like, just so smoothly how good his food was.
Yeah.
And like, she's like, no, I'm not hungry. And, number one's like, try it. And she's like, amazing. And then she starts like looking around for something and number one just passes her the cheese. Yeah. She knew what she needed. She was like, that.
Yeah.
Give me that. And it's she's like voraciously eating it. Like after she's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. Another subtle one. The awesome leather jackets were back.
Right. Yeah. Because they had to
I was worried that was going to be a one and done.
Is there somewhere where you can buy those yet?
Not yet. I keep looking.
Did either of you notice the parallels of George Kirk yelling at Spock?
Yeah.
Versus James Kirk yelling at Spock in the Kelvin Timeline movie?
Yep.
Like it was almost verbatim.
Yeah, we haven't gotten too much of Kirk in this show, but he was definitely in this episode a good bit.
That is something that has kind of bothered me a little bit. Like that's a big name to bring in and then ignore for most of the season. So that's been odd. Also, it is supposed to be his brother. I know we've had a back and forth
really
on that a little bit. Yeah, his George Samuel Kirk. Samuel comes from his father's name, who is Sam Kirk, who I guess is just not he's done with his Starfleet career. But this is supposed to be his brother. Saw that in supplemental materials.
Okay.
So I know we've had an ongoing question of is this his dad? Or is this
Okay.
So it is his brother.
Well, then that removes my concern. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest one was, does that make Kirk like 6 years old in that? Like, I know he's supposed to be one of the youngest captains in Starfleet, but that would be super young. So yeah, this is his older brother.
Yeah. So George Kirk was a human Starfleet officer. His father was Tiberius Kirk, and George was the husband of Winona and the father of James T. Kirk and George Samuel Kirk. So yeah, brothers. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Anyways, we've gotten off topic. Point is, it was an awesome episode.
Yes. It was an awesome episode. Let's get into our final thoughts and scores. As a reminder, we score every episode individually and then average everything together to give us an overall score for the entire season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1. So currently across the board, we're sitting at a 4.80. So near perfect, just some minor things that I've read was the wrong way. So who wants to start?
I'm going to give it a 5. It's a 5.
Nice.
Easy. Yeah.
Nice. Josh, are you in agreement?
I am. 5 heroic sacrifices out of 5.
I am also in agreement. After I forgot that I gave last episode a 3, so I'm glad I'm back up to a 5.
Yeah, you were not pleased.
I was not. I was
with
not.
last
At all.
episode,
Talk about thematic whiplash.
right?
Holy cow.
This show has done
I
that
think-
a lot. Like we'll go from like a heavy comedy episode to a depressing episode to an action episode back to a weird episode and now a suspenseful episode. Like it's all over the place, and that's why I think that's why I like it so much. Is that I don't know.
You never know what you're going to get. Yeah.
But it's still in the same vein as the last episode, though.
Yeah. That's what I was. It never feels out of place.
Right.
Except for that whole.
I would say
fantasy
last episode was a little. I'm going to say
Yeah.
last episode was a little off. I'll give Corey that. Yeah.
Yeah. So after episode 9 out of 10 of season 1 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, we're currently sitting at a 4.82. So
All right.
we have one more episode. Next week, we will be talking about the last episode of season 1 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. What will happen?
Hoping for a strong finish. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. If this was the penultimate episode, I'm kind of wondering what you're going to do to knock my socks off.
But we will be talking about Peak Geek Part 2. The epic battle continues. We'll also be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder and
Share
The Boys Season 3.
5 stars.
That don't even have anything to do with what I'm saying, but okay.
It's 5 stars.
I know. You do your thing. I'll do mine.
And we'll be finishing up Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 1. We have a jam-packed episode next week, so please stay tuned.
Click like.
Click like. Okay.
Get the Snapchats. Get the Twitters.
And don't forget, in 2 weeks, we will be taking a week off on July 26th. That actually might change depending on what happens on Comic-Con. Well, to be determined, but at some point we're taking a week off. But we'll let you guys know before it happens.
And just a reminder, Corey is still using a soundboard today. So this is the first time recording while listening to our music. And I'm just bopping along.
He is.
I'm loving it.
It's adorable.
Are we wrapping this one up?
Any final thoughts, Josh?
I'm good.
Hashtag Josh was right.
All right.
Share. Yeah. Hashtag Josh was right. Share.
Get the t-shirt whenever we make it. Goodbye, Mr. Anderson.